Hey all, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the animal kingdom. Animal kingdom, as we know that animals with different structures and different forms, over many species of animals are presented in the world. To need to classify based on the structure and the form, many different types of classification are done. Here we will see that we observe different animals with different structures and forms. We'll observe as over of million species of the animals have been found till now. Actually we know that now till now over million and million species of animals are evolved. The need for classification becomes all the more important. So we need to classify that, which means like in plants, five kingdom classification, Moreira protist, how they are placed in that class. Here we need to classify animals also to place in the class. The classification also helps in assigning a systematic position to newly described species. To classify the animals, it is placed in a very systematic position in manner, not the animals which are in random manner. They will, through classification, they are placed in a systematic position. Basis of the classification. In spite of different structures in form, different animals, there are fundamental features common to various individuals in relation to the arrangement of cells, body symmetry, nature of coelom, pattern of digestive, circulatory and reproductive system. So in spite of difference in structure, other than the structure, there is very common feature with regarding to the cells, symmetry, nature of coelom, pattern of the digestive, circulatory and reproductive. So based on all these, classification can be done. Here we can observe the level of the organization. As we grow from smaller organization to bigger, highly evolved organisms like humans, there will be a level of the organization. Though all members of animals are multicellular. Yes, animals are multicellular and eukaryotic things. All of them do not exhibit the same pattern organisms of the cells. For example, in the sponge, the cells are arranged loosely aggregation. They exhibit the cellular level of the organization. So cellular level of the organization, which means cellular is nothing but the most fundamental level of the organism, in which cell is the fundamental unit of the life, and it is the smallest unit capable of reproducing itself. So sponges exhibit the cellular level of the organization, and some division of labor activities occur among the cells. Whereas in the coelenterators, the arrangement of cell is more complex. As we are going from there are several phyla in the upcoming the videos. You can see that as we are going from lower level to higher level, the arrangement of the cells may be much more different and more complex. Here we can see that from the starting and the simplest form, lower animals seen in cellular level, tissue level, organ level, and the organ level system is the more complex thing seen in the higher organism. Here the cells perform the same function arranged into tissues. Hence in tissues level of the organism. Here it is pattern is arranged in the cells, so it is a cellular form of the. Whereas in the cells perform the same function arranged in a tissues is known as tissue level of the organism. Still higher level of the organization exhibited by member of the Platyhelminthes and higher phyla. Whereas the tissues are grouped together to form organs. First, so it starts with the cells, and then tissues, and then organs, and level increases, it leads to organ level of the system. So in animals like annelids, arthropods and molluscan, echinoderms and chordates, you have seen that a special organ is known as organ system. Starts with the cellular and then tissue and then organ level and then organ system. It is a specialized physiological function seen in annelids, arthropods and molluscans. Yeah, here we go that sponges, in sponges what kind of level of organization is seen? The answer will be a cellular level, and because the arrangement of the cells in a large cell aggregate. Here accessioning reasoning also will be given, like accessioning. Here accessioning is sponges show cellular level of organization. So here the accessioning is given, sponges shows cellular level of the organization. Is it true? Accessioning is true, and the reason will be due to the cells are arranged in loose cell aggregation. The answer will be A is correct, R is correct, R is the correct explanation for the A. And next, tissue level of organization is seen by the coelenterata, and organ level is exhibited by the platyhelminthes and hyaline. Like in annelids, arthropods and molluscans, what kind of level of organization is seen? It is seen the organ system of the level of the organization. Organ system is in different group of animals exhibit various patterns of the for example, the digestive system in platyhelminthes has only single opening to the outside of the body that serves for the both the mouth and anus. If it is hence it is known as incomplete. A complete digestive system is said to be that the two openings will be there, one is for the mouth and the other is for the anus, then it is said to be a complete digestive system, has two openings, mouth and anus. And also similarly a complete and incomplete have two types of circulatory system, open type and closed type. In open type, the blood is pumped through out of the heart, and the cells and tissues are directly bathed in it. It is a open type. Whereas in closed type, the blood is circulated through series of the vessels of the varying diameters, which means arteries, veins and capillaries. Here it is a narrow very minute diameter varies, whereas here it sent from the heart and cells and the tissue. It is known as open type. Coming to the symmetry, symmetry is said to be it is of a three types. It is of the three types. Symmetry is nothing but you are passing through any plane. If the central axis of the body is divided, which is identical, after dividing it, both the parts of there are identical or not, have to central of the body divides the organism to identical halves. So it is of three types: asymmetrical, radial and bilateral. Here we can see that radial symmetry. So in radials, asymmetric is nothing but lower organism shows the asymmetry. Asymmetry, which means A means not a true symmetry. Any plane that passes through this and does not divide into equal halves. You pass any plane from any direction, it does not divide into two equal halves. It is known as asymmetrical. When the axis of the plane is passed through central and divides into two identical halves, it is known as radial symmetry. So if you pass through any plane, here it is the radial symmetry, pass through any plane like this and like this, any plane, it divides into, from you pass any plane through central of the axis, it divides the organisms into two halves and both are them of the equal, and that symmetry is known as radial symmetry. Whereas in the bilateral symmetry, whereas in the bilateral symmetry does not includes more than one, only in a single axis it divides into two equal halves is known as bilateral symmetry. Whereas in radial symmetry, any plane can pass through the central axis is known as radial symmetry. Bilateral symmetry looks like the mirror image. This is the mirror image, and you turned into left and right, both will be equal. Like a mirror image, it shows the bilateral symmetry. After completing the symmetry, next then after will be then after in the cells, embryonic layers. Embryonic layers are nothing but of three types. Outer layer is known as ectoderm, external, and the inner one is the endoderm, internal, and the middle one is known as the mesoderm. Here we can see that this is the cell. Here you can see this is the cell. These cells are known as ectoderm, and the inner, this is the cell, and this is ectoderm, this is endoderm, and the middle one is known as the mesoderm cells. The mesoderm cells, if the mesoderm cells are not present, it is replaced by the mesoglia. It is seen in the diploblastic animals. If ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm is seen, then it is known as triploblastic. Ecto, endo, and meso. Then it is known as the triploblastic. Here diploblastic animals, only ecto and endo is seen. If the mesoderm is replaced by the mesoglia, it is known as triploblastic animals. Here we can see that an undifferentiated layer mesoglia present between the ectoderm and the endoderm. The animals in which developing embryo has third germinating layer. In embryonic cell, third germinating layer is very important, that is known as the mesoderm. It is present between the two cells, which means both ectoderm and the endoderm. It is seen in the triploblastic animals. Next, coming to the coelom, presence of the or absence of cavity between the body wall or gut wall is very important classification. Presence of the gut wall and gut is very important. The body cavity which is lined by mesoderm is known as the body which cavity is lined by mesoderm is called coelom. Animals possessing coelom are called as coelomates. Examples like annelids, molluscans, arthropods, and echinoderms, hemichordates and chordates. In some animals, the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm. Instead, mesoderm is present scattered pouches in between ectoderm and endoderm. Is known as pseudocoelomates. Pseudo means a false. Pseudo means nothing but a false. The coelom is present, but it is not the true one. It's known as pseudocoelom. Example: Clemenites, and the body in the animals in which body cavity is absent is known as acoelomates. Example will be Platyhelminthes. Here in this we can see that a true coelomate is nothing but coelom is present. The cavity is filled with the coelom. In pseudocoelomates, coelom is present. Coelom is lined by the false coelom, that is nothing but the pseudocoelom. In acoelomates, Coelom is absent. This is ectoderm, this is endoderm, and this is mesoderm. So in mesoderm, the coelom is not lined by any coelom, so it is known as the acoelomates. In some animals, the body is externally and internally is divided into two segments with a serial repetition at least some organ. In earthworms, the body shows the pattern called metameric segmentation, and this phenomenon is known as metamerism. So in this animal the body internally and externally, both outside and inside segments will be like a serial repetition will be seen. It is known as the process metamerism. And next is a notochord. Notochord is nothing but the mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal. Ventral means a back side, though dorsal means a opposite side. During embryonic development in some animals. So animals with the notochord is known as the chordates. Chordates is the higher level of the. Those chordates which do not form this structure is known as non-chordates. Examples: Porifera to echinoderms. Those who perform the notochord in a dorsal surface is known as the chordates. These are higher level of the organism. Non-chordates are seen from the Porifera to echinoderms.